So, I've been sitting here thinking of the storyline for The Beast of Burden. And even though it's going to be the story of Igor, the Igor is going to be the job title kind of thing and not the name of the character. Like in the movie Igor, the animated movie, he says that you go to Igor school. So it's going to be like that. So the Beast of Burden is going to tell the story of a female Igor who was destined to be like the handmaiden, the maid, the slave to the scientists, just like normal Igors. And she goes to school with this Igor, boy Igor, and she grows up with boy Igor, and they're best friends, and they fall in love. She loves him. She's in love with him, with boy Igor. But boy Igor has the opportunity. A competition's going to come about where one of the Igors has the opportunity to work with the maddest scientist in all the land. And in order for Igor to get the position, he has to betray girl Igor. So the rock opera is going to be the story of the girl Igor getting betrayed by boy Igor because he hands her over to slavery so that he can become famous. Because then he'd get to work on alongside the mad scientist, who's like the most famous mad scientist in all the land. But in order to get that position, he has to sacrifice girl Igor in order to do it. And then when she's locked in the dungeon and fighting to escape, she uses her brain to escape the dungeon, and then she brings down the mad scientist by exposing his plan to use his mad science to use the parts of other people to make the perfect slave child, using the parts of dead children, using the parts of, because like in Phantom of the Opera, he gets his face burnt in a fire and lives down in the basement of the opera house. So this will be like Frankenstein, because Igor, he was Frankenstein's right-hand man, sort of like man-slave in Young Frankenstein. And he's the same in Igor the movie, and he's the one that works for the church that pulls the bell tower and all that. So he's basically like a slave monster, but he has the opportunity to work alongside the most famous mad scientist, whose plan it is to recreate, to reinvent humans by using the body parts to create the perfect child. It's a child that doesn't pack tantrums. It's a child that's obedient and does as they're told. and I'll put it into the song about how, you know, the child will never spit out broccoli and always eat its peas and that sort of thing. Also along the lines of Rocky Horror Picture Show, you know, with Rocky, how he creates the perfect specimen in Rocky, and they sacrifice Eddie, the rock star, to do it. It's kind of along those lines, but it's going to tell the story of Girl Igor and how she's betrayed by her best friend and the Igor that she's in love with. I can do like a whole thing where she's in her little Igor bedroom, where she's got little pictures of her Igor friend on the wall, you know, because she idolizes him, and then she finds out that he's chosen her to be his sacrifice so that he can work with the mad scientist, so that she gets taken away. They have to give up something. You have to prove how much you want it by giving up something you love. And so he sends her to the dungeons. He sacrifices her for the position of working with the mad scientist. That's what I've got so far. It's kind of a little bit Young Frankenstein, a little bit Rocky Horror Picture Show, a little bit Phantom of the Opera. I'm already starting to like, I'm thinking of like one song, but whoever plays the mad scientist is going to have quite a powerful voice. I mean, opera singers have to have powerful voices because they don't use microphones, but I can see him in my head, and he's wearing like leather pants and no shirt. Kind of Ed Curry. What am I saying, Debbie? Tim Curry. You know, like with how he is with Young Frankenstein. He's like, I can see him being like Tim Curry. When Tim Curry was young and he was in, not Young Frankenstein, bloody hell. Sorry, it's just I'm in a little bit of shock. I've just had a bit of a shock to the system, but Young Frankenstein, Tim Curry, when he... Frankenfurter. God. Because he's based on Frankenstein. The Rocky Horror Picture Show, I mean, it's about the Rockefeller Illuminati parties, you know, the cannibalism and all that, because they really do that. It's in the Epstein thing, like we know that that's a thing. Rocky Horror Picture Show is about the Rockefeller parties, you know, like Eyes Wide Shut and all that, where they would eat a sacrificed celebrity, and it's all about that sort of thing, how they're all trans and bi, and, you know, but they pretend not to, and they sacrifice the virgins, and, you know, Brad and Janet and all that, and they believe they're aliens. Remember how, like, that's Elon Musk and the World Economic Forum and all those in the Illuminati, they think they're aliens and they're going off into space. Well, that's all, the Rocky Horror Picture Show is about all of that, right? So, and they sacrifice Eddie and eat him. We know that happens in real life. That's what Rocky Horror Picture Show was all about. And then they use the radio frequencies to put everyone under the mind control and all of that, and the broadcasting tower to call the alien mothership down, and then, you know, they go back home and just Frankenfurter, it's all over. Your mission's been aborted. That one. When they're going back on the spaceship. I love that movie so much. Amber. So anyway, yeah, so it's kind of a bit Rocky Horror Picture Show, but the guy that I can see playing the mad scientist, I can so see him being Tim Curry as Frankenfurter. And because Frankenfurter creates in his laboratory the perfect specimen of a man. In just 7 days, I can make me a man. So he's just like that. But instead of making a man, he's making the perfect obedient child. So, I mean, Night of the Black Sun is a zombie apocalypse musical where kids get eaten and stuff, and kids get turned. So, it's like Pinocchio isn't exactly a walk in the park for kids as a story, neither is Hansel and Gretel. So the kids can handle a rock opera where, even Phantom of the Opera is a bit kind of out there, and it doesn't need to be graphic. It just needs to talk about how this mad scientist wants to create the perfect, well-behaved children, guaranteed to get Santa every year. Sort of thing you can put in the lyrics. But that's the storyline. It's girl Igor. He goes to school with boy Igor. They were born together, they grew up together, they're like practically twins. They live next door to each other, they live in the same dorms when they go off to Igor school. They're inseparable. And then the competition comes about where only one can be chosen. But the requirement is that you have to give up something you love. And he makes the decision to give up his best friend girl Igor, who was desperately in love with him, and he was secretly in love with her. And she gets taken away and made to work in the bowels of the castle where the mad scientist is working on his experiment. And then she escapes and exposes the truth, because the mad scientist has led everyone to believe that it's a robot he's created, but she knows it's body parts from children that have died from accidents and plagues and blah. So she exposes the truth. And it all comes crumbling down. And then boy Igor gets arrested with the mad scientist because he knew the truth. He knows what he's doing, because obviously he's his right-hand man, and he says nothing. So I don't know. I haven't decided yet whether he gets rescued at the end or comes clean or whatever. But at this point, yeah, that's what I've got so far. God, I wish I could watch Rocky Horror Picture Show now. I love Tim Curry. He's one of my favourite actors in the whole world. And there's so many things where I've thought, even though I know he's had a stroke, when I get my foundation up and running, I would love to get him on board with some things. Where obviously when he's up to it physically, if it's not too taxing on him, even if it's just giving acting advice to the kids. But there's a couple of characters and some things that I've written where I think he would be perfect as a voice actor. And I know I say that I don't want to work with famous people or people that are signed up to agencies or anyone who's recognised, but there's just some people that have given the opportunity, I would give anything to work with, to get them on board, to say, hey, like, can you, even if you just come for a week and give the acting students like some advice on us, stay in the hotel, and and it's because of people like him that I have to make everything wheelchair accessible, like my observatory. My observatory, to get up to my observatory, if you're in a wheelchair or, you're handicapped, you have to go into the glass elevator that's on the outside of the observatory. And it's going to look like, when you're standing on it, it's going to look like you're flying on Aladdin's magic carpet, like on a magic carpet. So you can pretend you're flying on a magic carpet to go up to the observatory to, you know, look at the Cepheus constellation and all that, and the Draco constellation, because remember Draco TC, that Draco, the constellation, that's like there's a real constellation. It sits above the Cepheus constellation. So any of the characters that are named after anything in the cosmos, you'll be able to see it at the observatory. So the Draco constellation, which sits above the Cepheus constellation, where the Star of Behenus is. Draco TC is obviously my undercover cop. Draco TC and the Wolfman, remember that's my version of Miami Vice. Then you got the Cygnus constellation where the Amber Diamond star is. Amber's a real star up there shining now. So, yeah, there are a couple of famous people that I would absolutely make put the rule aside for, because it's like if they said yes, I couldn't not say no. And I just think that there's a couple of roles that I would love for him to do voice acting for, if he was up for it. But in the very least, bring him along to give him like a free holiday where he could come and maybe give some acting advice to the kids. Because he's done everything from comedy to horrors to family movies, and I just adore him. I just love everything about Tim Curry. So, but Rocky Horror Picture Show is how I met him, and I know that all the songs from that musical off by heart. Amber and I, it was our album of choice. That and Jesus Christ Superstar and Grease when we were drunk. So Frankenfurter. So yeah, so The Beast of Burden. That's kind of the story I have so far. So we'll just see how it goes from there. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.